welcome to So You Think You're Awake, the show about life transformation through dream interpretation. I'm Michael Sheridan. On this show, through analysing your dreams, I reveal your potential and the obstacles you need to overcome. I'm very specific. I tell you the magic power you have, what makes you magnificent, and the bumps in life that are holding you back. These bumps are not in the way, they are the way. To get in on the action, go to dream-analysis.com, fill in the form, and submit your dream to the show. That's it. That's all you have to do. I want to remind you, I have a webinar this Wednesday. That's Wednesday, the 20th of November, 2019, at 12 o'clock Pacific time. If you want to get the details about that webinar and get on the live webinar, get on my list. Go to my website, dream-analysis.com, go to my list, and you'll get email details about that. There may also be details added to the website, but right now they're not there. I just realized that. I got, as usual, I get lots of dreams sent in during the week, and I really appreciate that. Thank you, everybody who sends them in. I got 2 dreams from Leah, and it made me decide I'm going to do a particular theme because it's a theme I don't normally cover at all on the show. But we will start with her, and I asked her if she'd come on the phone, and she's there on the phone for us now. Leah, thanks for taking the call. You sent me in 2 dreams that I want to cover, but I want to also add that you're actually in the process of cutting the ties with birth. And yes. You were making progress with that, but you feel kind of like you've stagnated at this point in time. Correct?
Yeah.
All right. So you sent in one dream anyway where you say you're helping your elderly relatives, but they're not your real relatives. They are just dream ones. That's okay. And it's in a dinner theater or restaurant. Now, you have problems with your elimination system.
Yes.
And how has that been for you lately?
I think I'm finally starting to even out again. As soon as I started the cutting the ties, then it immediately got really terrible. But I think I'm finally starting to come out of that. It's been like 3 weeks.
Right. Yeah. Not a long time, I suppose, but that's typical of it. It does affect areas that it's going to work on healing. And we determined from a previous dream that it was connected to your mom taking prenatal supplements when you were in the womb.
Mm-hmm.
And then your mom was able to remember that. And then she said recently that she just started taking supplements again and broke out in a rash, and it reminded her of all that time ago when that happened to her and she got the same rash, which is why she stopped. So interesting how these things all just happened at the same time. Anyway, here in this dream, there are things I don't like in the 2 dreams that you've sent in. The first is that this couple are they're going to put wine back into a bottle and take it home rather than continue drinking it. Here's the first question. There's gold in the wine. Do you drink wine?
No, I don't drink alcohol at all.
And why not?
I don't like the way that I feel. It makes my body feel strange. Like I don't feel like myself anymore, or like I can't concentrate. It blocks something. I'm not really sure how to explain it, but I feel odd. And I don't like the way that, like, if you look into somebody's eyes who's been drinking, you see that they're different. Like, on the inside, they become different. And I don't like that about alcohol or about any real substance, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't drink alcohol either. I understand reasons why people wouldn't do it. But I think red wine is actually a good thing for you. And obviously it wouldn't be about getting drunk on it. But because there's gold flecks in the wine, and gold is a healing color in dreams. It's the color of the sun. The sun gives life to the whole planet. So anything that has gold in it in a dream is really positive. So here with the gold being in the wine, it's saying that wine is good for your digestive system. We know it's digestive system because there's more things that happen in this dream. Like somebody gives you a wooden train is broken. It's delivered to you broken. But well, actually, let's just cover that a little bit. Somebody gives you a wooden train, and it's a piece of it is broken, and so it's delivered to you broken. And you say you're embarrassed to tell the person, "Hey, it was broken when I got it," because you don't want them to think that they got this made for you, and that they gave you a broken present. But basically, the wooden train
Right.
is about your elimination system. And so the dream is basically saying it was broken when you got your elimination system, or it was broken on delivery. In other words, your arrival on the planet, your delivery, or mom's delivery of you,
Hmm.
the system was broken. And in the dream,
Well,
you
that
say
makes.
you need to get glue to fix it. So the glue is a good thing in the dream because it's saying, because you're focusing on fixing it. So it's saying cutting the ties is helping you.
Hmm.
Because the focus, whenever you're working on an issue, doing a therapy, we want to see that issue show up in the dreams. And here we clearly see it, and we clearly see you saying, I need to fix this. So we know
Hmm.
that the therapy is working. But the thing that I don't like in the dream is to to put the wine back in the bottles to get it home. You put a piece of glass into a bottle and paint olive oil over it, and then pour that wine across the olive oil into the bottle. Is that correct?
Yeah, the piece of glass actually I inserted into the empty bottle, and then I poured the wine over into the bottle, but the piece of glass was still in there with the olive oil, and somehow that was supposed to help preserve it or
Right.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so the part I don't like is the olive oil. And then you have another dream
Hmm.
where you're going to the library to return all your books and check out. Those two
Yes.
things together are not good in a dream. Well, on their own, they're not good in a dream. How
Hmm.
do you feel about life? Are you like, you know what? Um, I've had a run at it. I give up. It's like, if I leave the planet now, I don't care. It's fine.
I think it's like for several years, nothing, I seem to be going in circles. Nothing really comes to fruition. I start a project, something happens that prevents me from not necessarily finishing it, but it just sort of goes nowhere. Like I come up with an idea or I start a new job or something like that, and then it just goes nowhere. Nothing comes of it. Nothing happens. It either just ends suddenly or it just never took off to begin with. So I feel this sense of just going in circles with no positive upward progression. Um, so I guess, yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about. I'm frustration probably about how things seem to not work out, no matter how many different routes I try.
But frustration to the point of like, I'm ready to go home. Well, that's what the dream says. And
No,
olive
yeah.
in a dream is a request to live. It's your higher self is telling you it's aware of this, uh, that
Mhm.
that this is how you feel, and saying don't do that. Change the feeling. So here's the thing. And I'm going to include other dreams that are in this vein on the show. We
Mhm.
can have these ideas in our heads from time to time, and we don't, we half mean it, half not mean it. Um, and it's just like you said, it's connected with, I'm just frustrated. I've tried lots of things. It's going in circles. What do I do? Tell me what to do, and then I'll be happy. And if you can't tell me what to do, then like it's almost like I give up. When
Mhm.
you have a health issues on their own are not a problem, but having a health issue along with a desire that, oh, I'm ready to give up, that's really when they become a problem, because that's when you're basically saying to your subconscious, hey, I don't mind if we go home now. And even in this dream, they're putting the wine back in the bottle to go home. When I channel on the stream, they're saying, that part of them wanting to go home is not good, and they're elderly. It's like, yeah, we've had our drink of life, and we're ready to put
Mhm.
it back in the bottle, and so on. So you've got to fix that. Um, Look at the way you are mentally approaching life and correct that. You said the going around in circles, not getting anywhere, and totally frustrated. Where has
Mhm.
that led you to now? How do you feel now? What is your approach now?
Um, Still trying, but I think maybe my heart isn't totally in it because I feel like, oh, great, another thing that might just go nowhere. um, Even though I'm trying to kind of put myself out there, especially with jobs, with career, it, I guess maybe I doubt it. I doubt it pretty
Right.
significantly.
Okay. So you've got to do something that gives you a view of life where you say it's going to work out, or exactly what I need is going to come my way, and have a positive attitude towards it. But let's move on from that, because we're going to come back to it in your second dream. You say your uncle handed you a small sachet. Inside was a tiny wooden train in 3 parts. When you say a small sachet, I would always think of a sachet being like holding sugar or some sort of food.
It's a sachet, like a hand sewn little bag, like
right.
a little leather pouch kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. And so what we're trying to do with you cutting the ties with birth is fix the male energy that your digestive system needs to be healthy, because it runs on male energy. It needs that side of you balanced. And so you're given it by an uncle, so it's a male. Is he a real uncle in reality? Because the elderly people weren't.
No, it's like they were familiar to me, and I called them my family, but they didn't look like someone I know.
Okay. All right. So that's fine. But so it's still going to be your male energy, but again, close to you, but you're not an awareness. So in dreams, if we, for instance, your male partner's in the dream, then he will represent your male energy in an intimate way. Like, I really understand myself. I know this part of me in an intimate way. Mm-hmm. An uncle that you don't really know says you're still learning about this part of you, which is fine. That's just where you are. And you're now addressing something in a way that you hadn't addressed it before, because you were unaware of the cause and what the solution was going to be. But here anyway, this thing is a puzzle. So the elimination system issue is a puzzle, and it's broken. I'm skipping through it because it's quite a long dream. You say you would have to get glue to fix it. My uncle and aunt were telling me how it was made by a friend of his. I didn't want to tell him it had broken before I received it. And so that just fits in with, it goes back to the womb, because it's broken right from the start, basically. Then they said they had another gift for me. It was an enormous Lego castle with Harry Potter stuff and other movie characters. So this is really positive. I almost started crying because it was a present I'd suddenly always wanted. Then my aunt said, it's nothing to cry over, so breathed deeply, trying to get my emotions under control. She probably thought I was faking it, but my feelings were very much real. So it's not good to have gotten your feelings under control at that part of the dream. It was something that you should have cried over, and you were. So it's really you suppressing your own feelings in the dream. But so what you need to do is get to the point where you do express them more and you do cry. And here these were tears of happiness. So that's really good. It's a positive thing in the dream. And Harry Potter, is that a movie you really like?
Yeah, I mean, I love the characters. Always wanted to go to Harry Potter World.
Okay. And because you say here it was a present I'd suddenly always wanted it. I like how you put it. But movie characters about you having the gift, you're able to channel, basically. So the dream is saying, look, what you need to do is focus on letting go of issues, because it's a Lego castle, which is a pun. Letting go of old issues, because, again, castle's an old thing. And focus on the gifts that you have, and but expressing the emotion that you need, putting emotion into them. That's a way forward. Let's move on to your next dream. Stranger in a library. I was in a library with 2 DVDs. I was returning in a stack of books and movies I wanted to check out. I looked on the top shelf and saw many old books from childhood. There was Nancy Drew, Wind in the Willows, and its sequels was One of the Willows in Springtime, which I'd never seen before. I ran my fingers over the bindings, appreciating the literature and hoping they would remain on the shelf a little longer so I could buy them. I went to return and check out. So again, this return and checkout is kind of like the old couple wanting to go home and the olive oil. I'm really emphasizing it to say that this is something you don't want to let those thoughts grow in your mind in any way whatsoever, because and I'll say more about this when I'm doing another dream from someone else, because they're the ones where if you buy in, that's when you actually get a health condition that will take you off the planet, and that's not what you want to do.
Gotcha.
So then we have an older woman with silvery hair comes up to me and said, you're an intuitive. So this is really good. This is a guide in the dream telling you and silver is the color for intuition, by the way, the color of the moon.
Okay.
And so she has silvery hair, and she's telling you that you don't just sense the content of a book, you choose certain ones because of all the people who have touched that book. And some people notice this about you. And you said, yes, I feel books. So are you aware of what she's describing in the dream, the way that you pick up information?
Yeah, not necessarily from like holding a book, but from people, from the context of meeting a person or touching a person or being around a person. I know a lot about their feelings just by looking at them.
Right. And what about the story of their life? Do you know things about them in that kind of way?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like I know the reasons why they do things. Just even if they don't, like if they say something, then I know why they said it that way. Does that make sense?
It does. So the different books represent different people, of course, and the covers are usually all anybody's ever going to know about a person. And this woman tells you your intuition allows you get information that's more than just the cover, which is really good, and you're aware of it. Do you also have a counseling skill? Do people come to you for advice?
I suppose they do. Yeah.
So it's something you're aware of. How come you say you suppose they do?
I suppose maybe because while I'm talking to them, I don't really realize that they're asking me for advice, and then maybe after they leave, I realize that I've given some. But I hope that it's useful to them. I hope that I'm not just, speaking from no experience.
So
I want to be authentic, basically.
That's fine. And libraries represent counselling skill and dreams. They're a place of knowledge. Anything to do with knowledge says you have a counselling skill. You do have it. But later on in this dream, and I'm not going to read it out because it's a very long dream, you are wandering between aisles of cars, unable to find some kind of, is it a terminal?
Like another checkout counter for the library, but it's in the parking lot.
Yeah. So I'm glad you didn't find the checkout counter. But the aisles represent a channeling ability. You have the ability to channel as well. Have you ever done that in reality, channeled? Are you like consciously aware of it?
It's not something I've fully understood, or how to do it, or it's not something that I've fully embraced, more because I just don't understand it. Not that I don't want to embrace it. It's just to see a lack of understanding.
Yeah. So it is something the channeling's going to work alongside your counseling and alongside your intuition, and that's fine. But what comes up then at the end of the dream, which is where I wanted to get to, you say, I was very angry. I started to head back to the library and charged straight through the sidewalk where people were walking, eating at cafe tables. So again, the eating and the anger shown. So how does anger show up in your life? And if it doesn't show up, that's a bigger issue.
It definitely shows up.
Okay.
I have quite a quick temper, and I get especially about justice. Like if things are not, if I perceive things to be not just in the world, then I get very angry, and somebody will get an earful, and then sometimes I even regret it.
All right. The last part here, you say you went to between the cafe tables, trying not to care about the looks you received, and almost got a handrail to the stomach. So the dreams, through some symbolism, have said that they're about your digestive system, and then through direct talking about eating in the stomach, they are making it very clear. So the anger is something that you need to do. You need to deal with and express. So you say, why am I stuck with cutting the ties now? What do I need to do? And the answer is you need to get really angry. Need to really, really get angry. And we're on the radio, so I can't use words I want to use. So get angry about the fact that you have this condition, that you got this before you were even born. Like how unfair is that in life? And this is the unjustness that you need to be screaming about. And express that anger. Like it's very cliched, punch a pillow, all that sort of stuff. Do a workout while you're really angry. Feel the anger. And keep going and get to the point where you don't feel it anymore. Don't suppress it. It's all about not suppressing it. And remember your last dream at the end, you're suppressing something. I can't remember what it was. But the ant. tells you not to cry, and you're
Right.
like, okay, I got to control my feelings. No. Now, it's not about getting angry at other people. This is about you expressing the anger that you had as a child in the womb. Like, so you're not even born. So this is not something you
Mhm.
will mentally understand, but you need to let that child be angry. I mean, it's you, but it's a part of you that's
Mhm.
still there that wasn't able to be angry. And this is what will have you looking at injustice, because it wasn't fair. It isn't fair. And that's the whole point of what you need to be looking at. And that's going to unstick you. That's going to help the healing process. And it basically be the glue. So it's the emotion. And even in my book, I say anger is the emotion that dreams most associate with elimination system problems.
Mhm.
Because anger turned inwards eats away at us. You know, we blame ourselves, or really hard on ourselves, blame ourselves. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have, et cetera, et cetera. And like you said, like even when you get angry, you can feel guilty afterwards. Or maybe I shouldn't have done this. And so the anger doesn't
Mhm.
stop. It just, you point it at yourself, and then that's used to eat away at you. And of course, I'm saying it that way on purpose, because it's the digestive system that gets affected by that anger. So you got to
Mhm.
express that anger in a way that it just doesn't show up in your life at all. You don't feel it. And if you express it, through the process of cutting the ties, by working on the things that you would be angry about, to think about, like, how unfair is life? Even if you say, how unfair, how unjust could God be to allow a child come into the world with this particular condition?
Mhm.
Make it as big as you can, because it's real. It's not, they're not making it up, but you want to feel the anger and you want to express that anger. And once you get that out, then your world changes. Usually behind the anger, there's sadness. So quite
Mhm.
often the sadness and the tears will come up too, like they did in the other dream. But they were tears of
Mhm.
happiness. Um, but the anger is going to help bottle something else up, and that's what you're going to work on. So that's it. That's
I
what you
see.
need to do, um, and I hope that helps you.
It does. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It does help.
So I'm going to move on now to another dream that's in the same vein, but points it out in a different way, probably more obviously. Well, they're probably all obvious now that I point them out, but this one is from Alice. She says, I'm on a 2 week trip to Hawaii with a group, staying in shared rooms and riding on a bus. So we're all on a trip here. That's what the trip is about, our journey, our life journey. In fact, a train journey, a boat journey, any type of journey, our vacation in a dream is also about your life, physical life on the planet. And so we know straight away with this person, she's meant to work with groups, and she's in shared rooms, so she's meant to share her leadership ability with people, which is what the groups represent. I'm in bed and I wake up, but my bed is in the middle of 5 mattresses, so I wait for some other people on the edge to get up so I can get up without climbing over them. So this is like, I'm feeling like I'm stuck in karma. And I'm well, I suppose that's just a setup for what comes next. I don't need to go into much detail, but 5 is about karma. Um, People are already lining up for the bathroom to shower, so I'm headed back to the room to get my things for the bathroom to put them in line. Then I'm seeing people getting off the bus. It feels a little chaotic. A couple of kids are running and screaming, and it occurs to me that maybe I could cut this trip short. And that's the alarm bell right at the end of that dream. So things are going on in her life. They're a bit chaotic. She feels kind of stuck where she is, not so much dependent on others, but other people probably dependent on her. But the wanting to cut the trip short, that's huge. That's absolutely what we do not want to do. And this dreamer sent a few dreams in, and all the other dreams were about cancer of the colon, which this dreamer, I've never seen that show up in her dreams before. So what happens is, when we come to the planet, we know where we're from, we know we're spiritual beings, we know everything about that about ourselves. And we set up in that moment, because of the difficulty at birth or our reception at birth, that I don't want to be here, I want to go home. And we set up the way we're going to leave the planet. Now we can't leave, we can't do anything, because we're stitched into the body, um, you could say. Um, but we can set up a way, something, a domino that we can push over that's going to lead to us leaving the planet and going back. And we don't care about that. We don't care how we go back or what it takes to get us back there, because we know where we've come from at this moment in time, right at the start of our life. And then when something happens where we go, I give up. I've been trying too hard and I give up. That's when we say, hey, your subconscious says, that thing that you've put in place, I can use that to get you home. I will do it, and it will do it. And that's why this dreamer her dreams then all switched to being about cancer of the colon. And in her case, it was like, okay, I had the conversation off air and said, look, here's what's going on. She said, yeah, it's kind of true, but I didn't realize how deep it was. And it's easy to just say, right, I'm going to be sensible. I'm not going to think this way again, because I don't. That's not what I intended. I was just giving up, really, but I didn't think that the instruction would be followed so quickly. So very important. When you see those things in your dream, they're much more important than cancer symbols or anything else like that, because as long as you don't have this idea of wanting to go home, then your body's going to fight the cancer. But when you say, I give up, then your body says, right, I will no longer fight the cancer. And that's the problem. So let's have a look at another quick dream. Let's do a dream that is less depressing. This one comes in from Jennifer. She says, well, it's more of a question, but why do my dreams always have the phone not working when I go reach for it to call for help? Most of the time, the numbers to dial out are not there, or are not even the right numbers to push. I have yet to see the actual true set of numbers that phones are supposed to have. Sometimes even when I pick it up, there are people talking on it. So I get frustrated and I tell them that I'm trying to call out, get off the phone. Then if I do get a chance to push the buttons, I'm always dialing wrong. I will keep trying, yet I'm getting mad. I'll be looking for the 9 and saying, where's the 9? It's not even here. I try again, still nothing. Never a cell phone or a rotary one, but the flatter type receiver ones. And she calls them all phone never works. So that's about communication. Phones are about communication, and the dream is about your frustration with communication and your frustration leading to you getting angry because you say you get mad in the dream. Now, there's going to be a reason. So there's going to be other things in those dreams. So you've given me probably about 3 or 4 dreams mashed together. Other things in the dreams are going to say where this comes from and what you need to do about it. But basically, that's what it is. Very common type of dream to be told you need to work on communication issues. But anyway, that's it. That's all I have time for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, I do have the webinar coming up on Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific time. So get on my list to get the details about that webinar. I'd love to have you on there. It's live and interactive. In the meantime, you can also go to dream-analysis.com and send me your dreams for next week's show. Until next week, I'm Michael Sheridan.